Hey humans, how are you? Today I have you a time lapse of this painting process for this painting titled Just For Me. And I wanted to share kind of my thoughts for this painting and behind this painting. So here I go. By the way, it's raining and there's like a thunderstorm outside, so please bear with me if you hear either thunders or my cat crying because she's terrified of storms. Yeah, there she is. Well, maybe. I just grabbed her and she's literally shaking. Poor girl. But yeah, anyways, here I go. She was supposed to be somewhere else that night. There was a party, one of those semi-obligatory events. The kind where people show up out of habit. Someone's birthday, or maybe a friend of a friend's gathering. There'd be drinks, laughter, photos. She'd probably have smiled, maybe even enjoyed it for a while. But deep down, she knew she didn't have it in her. So she stayed home. The decision wasn't dramatic. No crisis, no breakdown. Just a quiet knowing, I need me tonight. So she turned off her phone, lit a cigarette, and sat on the cold bathroom floor. Her cat followed her in, as cats do, curious, uninterested, loyal. The kind of present that doesn't ask for anything, just is. She took out her razor, not because she was going anywhere, not because she wanted to be seen, but because that night, taking care of her body felt like the only language she had left to connect with herself. She moved slowly, shaving her legs, not like a task to finish, but a ritual to soften into. She wasn't rushing for a date or preparing for intimacy with someone else. She was coming home to herself. It's strange, really, how something so mundane, so easily dismissed as vanity, can actually be an act of grounding, of reclamation, of tenderness. We don't talk enough about that, the healing hidden inside small gestures, the beauty in unphotographed nights, the worth in choosing not to perform. I painted her because I've been her many times. There were nights in my 20s tangled in expectation, drowning in noise, where skipping out on a party felt like betrayal, as if choosing myself meant letting others down. But over time, I learned that solitude isn't absence. It's a presence, a deep, uninterrupted conversation with yourself. And honestly, those nights saved me. I started to notice that when I was overwhelmed, the answer wasn't to push through. It was to return. Return to the bath. Return to my own reflection. Return to the act of caring for my body in ways that had nothing to do with being looked at. Just to remember I'm here. I used to think self-love was this big, flashy thing, that it would feel like a breakthrough, a flood of confidence, some switch inside me flipping on. But that's not how it happened. Mine started in fragments, washing my hair, cooking for myself, even when I was alone, doing my makeup on a day I didn't leave the house, shaving my legs just to feel the sheets better. Each act was tiny, but over time, they became a rhythm, and that rhythm became a foundation. It wasn't about becoming perfect. It was about becoming present, showing up in the smallest ways, until I believed I was worth showing up for. This painting is called Just For Me. She's part of a series I've been working on, a collection exploring intimate rituals, especially those we do alone in bathrooms. I've always been fascinated by bathrooms. They're transitional spaces, private, vulnerable, raw. You wash the day off. You cry there. You take deep breaths before returning to people. You reapply mascara between breakdowns. You notice your body in ways you don't elsewhere. It's a place where mirrors don't lie. And in this series, I wanted to capture that duality, the softness and the sharpness, the moments where we become both undone and reassembled. Technically, this painting was done in oil on an 8 by 10 inch canvas panel. The surface is unframed, which I actually love. It adds to the rawness of the piece. It feels like a scene caught mid-thought. I kept the palette warm but muted, subtle, like a steam on tile. You can tell she wasn't planning for this moment to be significant, but it became that way. The cat is a small detail but important. I imagine it's been with her through many lives, sat beside her during late night phone calls, lazy mornings, heartbreaks. In many ways, it mirrors the viewer. We are in the room with her, but not interfering, just witnessing. Painting her felt meditative, layering the skin tones, adding shadows around her knees and ankles, softening the light on her arms. I got to spend hours with this version of her, and I couldn't help but think how many of us have been in her exact position. Maybe not with the same pose or the same bathroom or the same cat, but in the same emotional space, where you're rebuilding quietly, not announcing anything, just taking care of yourself in small ways, hoping it's enough to carry you forward. I've often wondered, why do I paint women like this? Why not something grander or more performative? But the truth is, I think there's something radical about depicting women in these in-between moments. Not as muses, not as ideals, but as people who are soft, complex, and unapologetically real. The world doesn't always make space for that, and so I try to paint it into existence. If you're still watching this video, I imagine this kind of moment resonates with you too. Maybe you're someone who's unlearning a lifetime of shame. Maybe you've stepped up back from performing. Maybe you're trying to love yourself in ways that aren't aesthetic but elemental. If so, this painting is for you. Just for Me is available as an original oil painting, unframed and ready to ship from my studio in Raleigh. It's signed on the back and ships safely packaged with care. If you're more into print, you can find those too, available through my shop and Redbubble. I offer small sizes that are perfect for bedrooms, bathrooms, journaling corners, the places where you're most yourself. And if this piece spoke to you, I'd love to know. I read every message, every comment, because even though painting is a solitary act, art is about connection. It's how we find each other in the quiet. Thank you for spending time here, for caring about art, for believing that small things matter, that solitude has power, and that you don't have to be anything but exactly who you are in this moment. I'll be back soon with the next piece, and until then, be kind to yourself, even in the smallest ways, especially in the smallest ways. Bye, humans.